Rally Raid isn't as well known and as shown as like Formula One and track style racing. It's very raw.
Puck, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. It's so cool.
It's nice to have you here. When I heard
Yeah.
that it was you as well, especially with like everything that's happened recently with you winning and stuff, I was like really excited. So it's cool to
No,
have
it's
you.
cool.
I always
Yes.
do. I always do this thing where I try to kind of like grab like the driver's side statistics and stuff like that, and try to make like an introduction. And then I realized that
Okay.
I can't make justice to
Okay.
your life. So definitely you're the person to introduce
I'll
yourself.
do it.
Please do so.
So my name is Puck Klaassen. I'm 23 years old and I'm originally from the Netherlands, but I grew up in South Africa, so I would call myself South African. And yeah, I've been in motorsport like pretty much my whole life. Started racing like go-karts and motocross when I was young. Then went to horse riding, so a whole other type of sport. And I started rally raid like 2 years ago. So I'm sort of like new into it, and yeah, this is my third Dakar now. So yeah, it was really cool.
Nice. I will definitely dive into that also like a bit later.
Yeah.
And for us as well, we focus also a lot on like Formula One and like F1 Academy. And so our audience may not entirely be familiar with the concept of like the Dakar Rally. Would you be able to introduce the series in a couple of words?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Rally Raid isn't as well known and as shown as like Formula One and track style racing. So, I mean, it's very raw and rough style racing. You have a co-driver, so it's different to Formula One in that sense. And I mean, now we competed in Dakar, which is in Saudi Arabia, and we basically cover like 8,000 kilometers with just a digital roadbook navigator telling you where to go. And obviously, they can't show like any of like the racing and what goes on, but it's intense and like it's a lot happens. So it's a really cool style of racing.
Yeah, I honestly like my comments to you because it's when I saw like how like intense it is, I was like, you need to really love this sport to participate in it.
Yeah, I
So
mean, my sister's also like, how do you do it? You really need to love it because it's a lot. It's like 10 hours in the seat, so a day. So it's crazy.
it's crazy. Well, I mean, we're gonna also like talk about that, but then before that, I because you already touched a little bit on it, but like you said, your childhood has always been about like motorsport, and I think also competing because you competed also horseback riding. Can you tell us a bit more in detail how your journey started into like motorsport and how young you were?
Yeah, so my dad obviously had a huge passion for motorsports. He didn't do it growing up, but when he moved to South Africa, he just like started rallying and motocross and stuff. So I've got three siblings, and he exposed all of us to all the different sports, which is really cool. And me and my brother loved the go-karts and the motocross. So when I was 6, I started competing like in races and doing all that, which was really cool. And then my two sisters did horse riding. So I did do that until the age of 12, but I was like the only girl, there's only boys, and I
Right.
obviously wanted to go with my sisters. So when I was 12, I decided to go to horse riding, and I didn't really touch any go-karts or motocross for those 6 years. Competing in horse riding, I was doing show jumping till 140, which was really cool. I think it also gave me a good platform and base to learn like competition and stuff. And when I was 18, I wanted to start motocross again, but obviously, like missing all those years, it's tough to get back into. So yeah, picked up motocross, did that for a few years. And then, yeah, I had an injury in 2023, and I didn't know if like motocross is really what I wanted to do. So Dakar became like an option, or Dakar Classic at least, to do it with my dad. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into rally raid, and I loved that like more than anything. So I've done many sports, but rally raid for sure has been like top.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
also like nice to hear because I was gonna ask you, like what is it about like rally raid, like specifically? Is it like the adrenaline, the adventure that just drew your attention?
Yeah, I think it's more like because in motocross I was, competing locally, like at all the nationals and regionals and horse riding as well. And then when I did rally raid, it was like a whole different type of sport. So it was like pure endurance, whereas motocross and go-kart and horse riding is like sprint and like, you have one round. If you mess it up, you mess it up. But in rally raid, it was like, a week or 2 weeks, and it was thousands of Ks. And also it was like my first ever race was like the Dakar. So I saw all these like top competitors, and like I've always like watched the Dakar on TV, and just yeah, everything about that style of racing. Also, like it's not predictable. You can't really strategize too much, and you kind of just take whatever comes. I love that, and it's just pure adrenaline. So yeah, I think I really just fell in love with that style of sport.
Nice. I mean, hearing you
Yeah,
talk about it is like also very different from, motocross and like two-wheel racing, basically. But is
yeah.
there like anything that you kind of like took from two-wheel racing into like rally racing?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also like in two-wheel racing is like super intense. So it's like, okay, you got like 20-minute moto, like give it your all and go. And same with horse riding. So I think I have like I brought that aspect is that like I'm always like, okay, giving like all into the stage. Those stages are like way longer in rally raid. But also like being with other competitors. So having like with motocross, there's so many different riders, so many different lines to pick, like you have to look ahead. And I think just to have that base was really good for us, right? Because even though it's completely different, like there's still, other competitors and rough conditions, and it gets pretty hectic.
You like because you had like kind of like an expedited journey into rally racing. I heard a story or I read a story about, your dad. You went to Switzerland with your dad and met someone. Can you tell us more about that?
It was such a funny story. So I was injured from motocross, and I was kind of like, oh, what do I didn't know what to do. So, anyways, I was with my dad in Switzerland, and his friend opened a new restaurant. So we went to his restaurant, and obviously we were like drinking a bit. And then he comes to us and he's like, yeah, I did a Puck Classic. And we were just like, oh my word, that's amazing. And he had this insanely cool old 1986 Porsche 911, like super cool. And he did like two Dakars in that car. And he was like telling us that he needs to sell the car. So my dad was kind of looking at me, and like we were drinking a bit of wine. So like obviously we were like really like motivated. We're like, wow, we like this sounds insane. So my dad asked me then like, do you want to do Dakar Classic with me? Like I'll navigate, and then or he navigates, I drive. And the next day we woke up and we are like, okay, are we actually going to do this? Because it was like 2 months before Dakar. Like it was very last minute. I'd never done any sort of car racing. So we're like, okay, no, we're gonna do it. And it was like the coolest experience ever. Like it was so cool.
That's like
So
peak
that's kind of how I got
adventure.
into it. Yeah.
That's so nice. And also, I mean, you kind of like jumped like head first into it.
Yeah. Everyone's also like, look, why didn't you like start it like a regional race or like a national, like, ease into it. And I just chose Dakar as like my first race. So it was like intimidating. People were coming to me the whole time, like, look, like you might not finish, or, don't have the expectation of finishing. Like it's much harder than you think. So I think that's also good that I assumed it was going to be like the most like, difficult thing in the world. And it was really difficult, but like we finished and we were so, so happy. So no, it was really cool.
Well, honestly, also, I mean, when I saw it, it's I was reading about it and it's about endurance and it's less about like also what is different about it is that in rally is Dakar rally is not about like speed necessarily. It's about like tactic, it's about endurance. You need to kind of like pace yourself. Um
Yeah.
so you need like a lot of like it's physical and mental preparation. How do
Yeah.
you kind of like start training for that?
I mean, they say in rally raid, everything comes from experience. So it is really hard to be young and not like have done so many races to do really well. So, I mean, I'm still really young and I haven't been in rally raid for long. So you can see like the more races I do, the more like it becomes so mental, because in the beginning I was kind of approaching it like motocross, like, okay, but I just want to win and I just want to do well. And then you do too much, and then it becomes like, you start having mechanical issues, and you start like things go wrong. So it's also learning like in a race situation, like, okay, you have to, you something happens, like you're in someone's dust, like you just have to like be patient and not take that risk to like, you know, break the car. Or so it's really frustrating because I still have that same like urge to like, okay, but I want to, like, I'm losing time, like I want to go. But like you have to just think long term the whole time. And you know, it could be extremely difficult for you, but it can also be really everyone else is going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So it is super mental. And even this Dakar, I noticed that like Dakar used to be about surviving, and like whoever has the least mechanicals makes it through the cleanest kind of wins. But now it was like prologue pace. Everyone was flat out the entire Dakar. So that was also really tough because I was expecting the pace to be a bit lower. But I mean, I was pushing more at Dakar than any other race before. Like I was like pushing all day flat out, and everyone else as well. And it was just like whoever's willing to take the most risk kind of come out better. So a lot of people would crash out, or you know, would high risk, high reward, so they would get like in a good position. But it was crazy. Like I thought it would be more survival, and especially by week 2, people would drop out, but it just didn't happen. So it's become like really intense, but I do love that aspect to it.
That's crazy. And like you mentioned that
Yeah,
it's like very like high speed as well. And you know, like it's a I mean, it's a dangerous sport because you have to be concentrated like for for hours on end. Like, do you ever
yeah.
have that factor of like fear somewhere?
Never fear. Like I never get scared or like have a fear factor. Because I think if you are scared, you'll never really make it, because it is just about like pushing like all through this like stage and driving flat out. So I never get scared, but I do definitely get like fatigued sometimes. And then that's when I have to like seriously be sharp, because I mean, you like constantly racing for like 5 hours, like the whole time. So it's hard to train for that. And also mentally, it's like kind of hard to, yeah, like keep like pushing through, and like a lot of things go wrong. Like also they don't show a lot on TV, but like, I mean, the things we face and things that can go wrong, it's just like, you just have to kind of deal with it, move on. You can't be emotional. Like the second you drive with emotion, you make a mistake. So it's very mental, and it's also super physical. So I definitely felt that some of the days that like I started slacking because I just couldn't keep up with that like flat out pace.
Right.
So that was a bit tough, but yeah.
I mean, I can imagine by, you know, day one, you're fresh, you're, you know, fresh
Yeah.
into it. By like by week one, how is that? How
Oh
does
my
that
gosh.
like kind of
Yeah, it's crazy. You can see my interviews like day 1, I'm like so fresh and excited, and then day like a week 2, I'm like kind of like, oh my gosh, this is like getting really hectic now. I think the day before race day, I had like a proper like bad day, so it was nice to have a rest day, like little reset, and then go into week 2. But you don't really like think the second you start like allowing yourself to be tired, or like telling yourself it's hard, or like, you know, then it gets hard. So I try not to like think about it and just like enjoy it. I mean, it's Dakar, like it's such a cool thing to do. So yeah, just try not to think about it.
Right. I heard somewhere, you know,
um
when you're now that you're saying that, I heard somewhere that someone said, I don't know who it was, but it was like a quote in a video, and he said, Dakar Rally is the worst and the most fun 2 weeks of your life.
yeah.
Which
No,
can you
no,
relate to that?
literally. No, like everyone that I speak to there is like dying every day. Like it's like, why am I here? Like this is so tough. And then we finished that one. Everyone's like, oh, can't wait for the next one. Like it's a very like extreme thing. So like I kind of the same. Like some days you like question like, what, why are you here? Like, you know, and then you just want more. It's like addictive. So yeah, I don't know. Everyone's a bit crazy, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, maybe it also helps to have like this in this racing series. You're not alone. You have like a co-navigator. Maybe it's
yeah.
also good that you have like a companion in the struggle.
Exactly. I mean, he's also going through it, so it's kind of a team effort. But that was also tough for me because all my sports, like I did in the past, were all like individual sports. So now it's the first time competing with someone. So I did struggle with that in the beginning because it's kind of like, you know, I just wasn't used to it. And now I really enjoy it. Like you kind of form like a really cool bond and like get in a rhythm together and go through the same stuff. And also to share that experience with at least one other person is so nice, because I mean, the things you see and experience in a day, like it would be a bit like it would be hard to like keep that to myself. So at least I can have someone to like talk about it with and like go through it with. So that's really cool about it.
Yeah, you can like vent.
Yeah, I can like rant and like go off to him. So it's cool.
That's cool. And I have to ask, like, how do you then together kind of like prepare for the stages?
Yeah, it's kind of it's hard to prepare because they kind of give you the day before like a briefing of like, okay, tomorrow's stage will be like 20% sand, 60% gravel, whatever. Like they'll kind of lay it out like that. So you don't know, you know the areas you're racing, but you don't know exactly the routes. So you kind of try to come up with a strategy, but I mean things get thrown at you that you just don't expect. So we kind of come together and be like, okay, what can go wrong and prepare for that. And so when something does go wrong, we know how to react and be calm and like especially like a small thing like getting a puncture. Like we will behind the scenes like practice our puncture changes because you can do a 2 minute change or like a 6 minute change if you're like really slow. So, I mean, those 4 minutes is like what can cost you the lead in some stages. So we really try like our best to keep up to date, but sometimes things like get thrown at you and you just don't know. So yeah, I think we try just always be calm and like just see what comes and what happens.
Yeah. So basically, you're always preparing for the worst.
Yeah, literally always worst case scenario. Like you have to.
Yeah. And I hear like also like a lot of like in the moment split decision making as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you
So
like, sorry, has there ever been a situation where you're not on the same page or how do you handle that?
yeah, it can be tough. Like, luckily for me, like like an amazing co-driver, and we get along really well in and outside the car. Like, we have a really cool relationship, so that's always nice because that's the biggest thing in rally raid is like if you don't have a good relationship with the co-driver, you don't trust him, then it makes the sport really difficult. So, luckily for me, we have a good like language in the car, and outside the car, we can like discuss things. But I mean, sometimes like we race like so many hours together a day in the car, so course there's times where we get a little bit like not irritable but like things
Right.
happen, but we always like we don't take it personally. We just like put it behind and keep going and like he knows that I can make mistakes, I know can make mistakes, and we never like put that against the person. So it's also like just not being emotional and just like doing your job, and we have built a really good relationship like that, and he's if not more competitive than me. So he wants to also win and do well. So it's cool to have someone that's on the same page as me with that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. If anything, you can just laugh a lot about it after as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, exactly. So it's always like ends up being like a joke.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, like, I also saw the video of him asking you, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm good." And he said, "Why are you driving like a grandma?" And it became like such a thing.
Yeah,
Talk
like
us,
blew up. Yeah.
yeah, what was happening in the car at that moment that led up
No,
to that moment?
yeah, it was stage 3 of Dakar, and we started third on the road that day, and we passed the two guys, so we were leading. And we get to the refuel, and we kind of like seeing the timing, and we're like, okay, we're leading by quite a bit. So in the second like 200 Ks to the finish, I was driving, but like of course you don't like keep up the pace you maybe start the stage with. So I think I was like slacking a little bit, and he's never said that before to me either. So he's kind of like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like what?" And then he said like because you're driving like my grandma, and I love that. I was like, okay, like I'll go because I thought I was driving like fast. So like I love that he said that, and then we like everyone was wondering like your last splits were so fast, and it's because he said that, and then I won that stage for like 8 minutes, so it worked. So it was so funny, and we were into marathon stage. So, like I forgot that there's cameras in the car, so I didn't see the video, and then like 2 days later I go on Instagram, I'm like, oh my gosh, it completely blew out. So it was cool.
Are you okay with being called a grandma now? But that now like the coolest grandma ever.
No, no, like I didn't think I love that he said that. I was kind of like, okay, like, I'll go because like he's not scared, like, and that's also like scares me that he never gets scared. So when he says that, I'm like, okay, I'll go a little faster. So it's always
Right.
like that. I like that stuff. So yeah, it was cool.
Very nice. Well, I mean, also like we said before, there's a lot of preparation, or preparing mentally before, and then when you get to the stage, you get one day prior, you get kind of like somewhat of a layout, and then you prepare for the worst. But then, was there a particular situation in your Dakar career so far that was just beyond anything you've prepared for?
Like, yes and no, yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like things have happened that I never thought would happen. I can't think of like one on the spot, but like it's in our DACO, there was one that we prepared for, but we didn't take initiative or action. So it was like the day of stage 4, and we broke apart on the car that like we thought would be really impossible to break. And I knew to like the team also knew like to carry that part in the car because it takes like if you have that part you can change in 15 minutes, but because we didn't have it, we had to wait for like an hour and a half. So that you just start picking yourself because you're like, oh, I wish I took that initiative more, like, so that's like the tough part of the sport is like you try your best to like plan and strategize, but sometimes you forget all the elements. So that was a bit tough. But I mean, there's also been stages where like there's always like you're racing with cars and like there's animals obstructing and there's like flipping people throwing rocks at your car. Like there's so many things you can't prepare for where like it's it's a crazy sport. I mean, in Morocco last year, I had a kid throw a rock in my car and he hit the kill switch. So like we had no power. But I'm like, I don't know how to fix that. So it's like then you're like, how do you prepare for that? Because how can you prepare for someone throwing a rock at your car? So it's like it's crazy.
That's
But
wow. Yeah. I mean, it sounds to me as well like the team is like a very important factor in this. How, because, in every sport, of course, that you have a team behind you. But here, like you said, you have team on standby, kind of like, coming to help you. And then also overnight, they are preparing everything. Like, how's your communication with the team? Like, how close are you? How important would you say the team is for your stages?
yeah, I mean, I've been with G Rally team now for a year and a half, so I've built a really good relationship with everyone, especially my engineer, my mechanic. Like he's taught me like everything about mechanics and the engineer. I mean, we developed the entire car from like the wheels to the transmission to the body, like everything. So during that development process, you become really close. So we also have a really good language. Like every stage we come back, it's sometimes late, and we always like do a debrief of like everything that kind of happened in the stage. And we try to cover as much as possible. And they then working through the nights to make sure like the next day like we come up with solutions for the problems or anything that we've discussed. And especially my mechanic, like we're super close, so I think that also helps because he loves the sport and he's so passionate that he's always like putting in that extra to make sure it's all good.
Yeah.
Because I know in a lot of teams there's maybe a bad dynamic or there's like a bit of politics and stuff. So luckily in my team there's none of that, which I think really makes it so important. Yeah, it really helps a lot. So I've got a really good close circle of people, and they support me and they believe in me. So I think that's it's really important.
Let me see if I get this right. So you're the fifth woman to win a Dakar stage, and then you're the first one to win a Dakar stage in the challenger category. How does it
Yeah,
feel to kind of like be that fifth female? Does it have any effect on you, or do you just see it as another win?
no, for me it was like I think the peak of my life because you always like growing up like I did a lot of sports and I was like good, but I never like really made it internationally in anything. And um to be like you always look at like these people and women and like and they make history and they like it's like a huge thing and I've always looked up to that. And now I'm one of those. It was crazy. And like I mean everyone made it like a super special moment because we won and like me and my co-driver were like celebrating and stuff. But we got back and it was such a big thing and that really meant a lot because I realized like my dad was also like, look, like you did something really cool. So I mean that really it meant and like also not many women have competed in Dakar, especially like one. So yeah, I mean from last year Dakar to now to I've had 2 stage wins, like it was a really special moment for me. Like it meant a lot.
Yeah, and it's so cool because you're kind of like already etching your name in like the sports history. Um, and I can imagine like, or is there any pressure that comes with like, do you want to achieve even more now?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've always put like from the start way too much pressure on myself. So I kind of came into the sport. My first race in Abu Dhabi, I had like a pretty good result. So I was like, the expectation was there, like, okay, I want to keep getting good results. And then it didn't happen. And I was always trying to prove myself, especially being a girl. It's hard to get that same respect. If you like do make a mistake or crash, it's like, oh, of course. Like, so it was hard for me to like prove myself, and I was always like set on that. And then this Dakar, to be able to like put in like two really good stages and have that was like really important to me. And I mean, now there's like less pressure because now I was finally like, okay, I've done that, like everything's fallen into place, and now hopefully I can keep going. But I'm definitely more like wanting it because once you start like having a little bit of wins, it's like you just want to keep winning. So I guess it's a bit of a curse as well, but like that's kind of my goal.
Yeah. What are you, because you're also in the Rally Raid Championship. So what did you take from this year's Dakar Rally that you're taking in throughout the championship as well?
I think Dakar like taught me a lot, and also now I see I'm like fifth in the world championship.
Mhm.
So like because Dakar didn't really go the way I wanted, my main focus like shifted to the world championship. And also I realized like you like the points mean a lot. So even if you don't win a Dakar overall, you can score a lot of points like on stages and stage wins or podiums or even top fives. So I think for the rest of the season, it's kind of like being consistent and like finishing every stage, trying to get as many like podiums and points as possible and trying to think long term. It's kind of hard to think long term, but that's definitely my goal for the season is to have that and just try like minimize mistakes and minimize like mechanical failures and everything. So yeah, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, nice. And we're gonna end the interview on like a nice note. I always ask for some advice. So, what advice would you give someone who is maybe aspiring to compete in Dakar Rally?
I would say like I mean, especially for me, like I overthink a lot and I didn't want to take that first initial step to do it because it is very intimidating and it's like the toughest rally in the world. So I think if you set and you have the opportunity to do it, like don't hesitate and do it and try have a close circle of people that support you and believe in you. And I think anything is possible if you really believe that you can do it. So I think it's just like get out there, do it, like don't think too much and just like enjoy it because that was the case for me. I mean, if I didn't take that like leap, like if I was like, no, it's too scary, then I wouldn't be in this position. So I'm really grateful for it. So yeah.
It's so cool that you say that. And one last question, actually. What is the best advice that someone gave you?
I think the best advice I've had like a lot. Um, but I think it's also the importance, like I didn't realize the importance of people close to you. So there's a lot of people that want to help you or want to get in, and they kind of also told me like put like keep only like people around that really do believe in you and are there for you. Because I mean, my career now, that's like what's gotten me through. Is kind of just having like that small circle. So I think that's been good advice, and also just like keep like it sounds so cringe, but just keep persevering and keep going because it gets like really frustrating at a point. I mean, I was like last year there was a stage where I was only having like I almost didn't finish like any stages, and if you just give up and like assume that that's your career, then it gets tough. So someone also told me just keep going, and it's turned out like amazing for me. So it sounds like super cliche, but it's really true. Like
Works.
so, it works.
Well, Puck, thank you for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
I wish you all the best for the season. We'll be
Thank
rooting for
you.
you at the Form of the World project, and we hope to see
Oh,
you soon.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this podcast. So thank you.